Hello, welcome back to Cinderella Math. Today I'll be doing a lesson on adding and subtracting both just regular fractions and also adding and subtracting mixed numbers. We'll do these when they have the same denominator or a common denominator, and then we'll make it one step harder and also do them when they have different denominators. All right, so grab some scratch paper, and if you're using a calculator, grab that. I will probably do this all by hand, so you don't need a calculator, but if you want one, you can have one. All right, let's just go on. So let's start with the simplest way this can be done is if they already have a common or a like denominator. So when you see that word like denominator or that term like denominators, that also means a common denominator. All right, so example 1, this could be like 1/5 plus 2/5. Okay, when we are adding or subtracting fractions that already have a common denominator, you're going to leave the denominator. So we're going to leave the 5 and then just add right across the top. 1 plus 2 is 3. And if you think about this in terms of like candy bars, this person ate a fifth. This person ate 2/5. So altogether, they ate 3/5. Okay. All right, let me do another example. Example 2. How about 8/13 plus 2/13? That would be, keep the denominator because it was already the same, and 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay. Let's do one where we get to simplify the answer. So example 3, how about 5/8 plus 1/8? So again, they have the same denominator, keep it, and 5 plus 1 is 6. So your answer is 6/8, which is correct, but oftentimes in math, when we're working with fractions, we want them in the term, lowest terms, or the simplest, or the reduced. All of those mean the same. So while 6/8 is correct, we should, in most cases, go ahead and reduce it. So the example 1 and 2, they did not reduce. So they were just already good. They were correct, nothing more to do. This one, while this is correct, let's reduce. Both 6 and 8 are even. So let's divide by 2 on top and bottom, giving us 3/4. So that would be the best answer, is the reduced or the simplest or the lowest. Let me show you that again. Example 4. Oh, let's do 7/12 plus 2/12. So they have a common denominator. Great. You're just going to keep it. So we're keeping the 12. And 7 plus 2 is 9. And now this is correct. And sometimes you might just stop there. But again, generally in math, we're going to go ahead and put it in reduced or simplest or lowest terms. Both 9 and 12, we can divide by 3, or they have a greatest common factor of 3. 9 divided 3 is 3. 12 divided 3 is 4. This would be the best answer. All right, that is adding. If you already have a common or a like denominator, let's do some subtracting. So here's example 1 of subtracting. 5/7 minus 1/7. See, they already have a common or a like denominator. We're going to keep the denominator and subtract right across the top. So 5 minus 1 is 4. That does not reduce. It does not simplify. So we're just done. And again, if you kind of think of it as the candy bar, I don't know why I did sevens. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. There we go. There's 7. So here you ate 5. Subtract. Now you've just eaten 1 there. So this had 5 pieces eaten. This had 1 piece. Basically, how many more did you eat? Let's say this is what you ate on Monday of the candy bar. This is what you ate on Tuesday. How much more did you eat on Monday? You ate 4 pieces more, or that's spelled wrong, 4 more pieces on the first day, right? That's not the best example there with the candy bar. Sorry. Let me get that off. All right, one more like this. Let's see. Still subtracting, still with the same denominator. Let's do 9/10 minus 2/10. They have a common denominator, so we're going to keep that 10 in the basement there. And 9 minus 2 is 7. That does not reduce. You're good. Let's do some where we do need to reduce. Now, you can't tell you need to reduce till the end, but I'll show you what I mean. So let's do 4/15 minus 1/15. They have a common denominator. We're going to keep that 15 in the bottom, and 4 minus 1 is 3. And while that is the correct answer, I think we can reduce it or simplify it. So this is right, but usually again in math, we want to go as low as possible, as simple as possible. We can divide by 3 on top and bottom, giving us a best answer of 1/5. This is the best answer. And I'll do one more example here, example 4. Oh goodness, let's do 11/20 minus 3/20. They have a common denominator. We're going to keep that 20, and 11 minus 3 is 8. Again, that's a good answer, but I think it can reduce. We can divide by 4, top and bottom, giving us a best answer of 2/5, a reduced or simplified answer. Okay, those were all what I would call proper fractions, and they all had a common denominator. Let's now do improper fractions, still with a common denominator. Okay, so this is with improper. And remember, the definition of improper just means the top, the numerator, is bigger than the bottom. So like 10/3, that is an improper, right? You could turn that to a mixed number, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it like that. And let's add 1/3. Okay, even though it's improper, it's okay. You're still going to do this the exact same way. They have a common denominator, so leave the 3. And 10 plus 1 is 11. And now we can just leave that answer as an improper fraction that does not reduce, does not simplify. Usually we're just going to leave it. Especially in high school math, we hardly ever use a mixed number. Middle school math, sometimes we'll leave it, and then sometimes they'll tell you to put it back to a mixed number. So if they just want the improper, you're done. Or remember how to turn this back to a mixed number. We divide. So that's 11, the top, the numerator. Divide the denominator. 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, which leaves 2. So this is your whole number. This is your numerator. And we keep the same denominator. So this would be 3 and 2/3. So 11/3 is a good answer, or if they want the mixed number, 3 and 2/3 is a good answer. And again, either are fine. You just want to follow your directions or follow your teacher. Okay, let's do one more adding with improper. Oh goodness, let's do 14/5 plus 2/5. They have a common denominator, so we're going to leave the 5, and 14 plus 2 is 16. That does not reduce. You could just leave it, and this would be correct. Or if your teacher or your worksheet or whatever wants the mixed number, divide 16 divided by 5. That goes in 3 times with a remainder of 1. So this is your whole number, and this is your numerator. So that would be 3 and 1/5. You always keep the same denominator. So 16/5 or 3 and a fifth. Okay, let me do one where you can reduce the answer, and then we'll do subtracting with improper, and then we'll go on to mixed numbers, which are a little harder. Let's do 15/8 plus 3/8. So they do have common denominator. We're going to keep the 8, and adding across the top, 15 plus 3 is 18. Now that is right, but I think we can reduce or simplify. If you divide by 2, you would get 9/4. And that would be the simplified improper answer. This is good, especially if you're in high school math and you're maybe just watching this to review your fraction skills. 9 times out of 10 in high school, probably even more than that, you're going to leave it as improper. Okay, if you're in middle school math, though, sometimes you'll leave it like that, and then sometimes your teacher or your worksheet will want the mixed number. So you take that simplified one and do the long division, 9 divided by 4, that goes in twice, and there's your remainder. So there's your whole number, there's your numerator. So this would be 2 and 1/4, always keeping the same denominator. So either way, check, check. Just follow your instructions. Okay, let's subtract with improper, and then we'll go into mixed. All right, so let's do 10/7 minus 2/7. That would be the common denominator is 7, so we're going to leave that. And 10 minus 2 is 8. That does not reduce, and if you're allowed to leave it improper, you're done. Or if your teacher or your worksheet wants the mixed, do 8 divided 7. That goes in once. So there's your whole number, there's your numerator. So we have 1 and 1/7. Either way, you're just going to follow your teacher's instructions. Okay, let me do one more here. Let's do 19/5 minus 4/5. They have a common denominator. We're going to keep that 5. 19 minus 4 is 15. Okay, now that's correct, but it can reduce because we can divide by 5, which is 3/1, but 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So really the answer is just 3. If you did the long division there, that's 15 divide 5, which is just 3 with no remainder. So that's why there's not a mixed number. There's no fraction. It's just straight up 3. All right, that's the improper. Let's go on to mixed numbers, and we'll start with adding. Oh, oh, wait, no, never mind. We need to do them with a not common denominator. My bad. Okay, unlike, so not common denominators. Let's just start with proper fractions, and let's start with adding. So example 1, let's do 1/4 plus 2/7. Okay, we cannot do this problem. It is not ready. Now, if you do have a fraction calculator, of course you can do it in there, but we're doing them by hand today. So what we'll have to do is get both of those denominators, the bottoms, the same. So you're going to go through your times tables and you're going to see what is the first number that both the 4 and the 7's times table hit. And if you do that, you'll get 28. So we are going to turn this problem into two fractions with a denominator of 28. And you're going to ask yourself, 4 times what gives you 28, and that's 7. And then you'll have to do it to the top. And I'm using a dot as multiplying instead of an X because I teach a lot of algebra. And once you get up into that level, X is not multiplying anymore. So the dot is multiplying. 1 times 7 would give us 7. So there's our new fraction there. And then do the same for the second one. 7 times what gives you 28. So that's 4. And then you'll do it to the top. 2 times 4 is 8. And now look at your new problem. They have a common denominator, so we're going to keep the 28. And 7 plus 8 is 15. That does not reduce. We're done. Okay, let me do one going vertically. So that was horizontally. It is also fine to do these vertically. I'm going to do 2/5 plus 3/11. So there's a vertical problem. And honestly, I think vertical might be a little easier. We cannot do this problem as it stands, so we need to get a common denominator. Looking at your denominators, we have 5 and 11. Go through your times tables for both 5 and 11 until you hit a number in both times tables, and that's going to be 55. So we're going to turn both of these into a new fraction with a denominator of 55. 5 times what is 55? Well, that would be 11. So you got to do this to the top, basically to be fair. So 2 times 11 is 22. And then right here, 11 times what is 55? That's 5. So multiply by 5 to be fair, and that's 15. And now you can add. So looking at the brown ones, that's our new problem. 22 over 55 plus 15 over 55. We're going to keep that denominator of 55. Do 22 plus 15, which is 37. That does not reduce. Answer. Okay. Let me see if I can find one that does reduce. Okay, here I found one that does reduce. Here's example 3. I'm still doing adding and I'm still using proper fractions. I'm going to go back horizontal. Again, if you don't like the horizontal, feel free to change it vertical. Let's do 2/4 plus 1/3. So you're going to go through your times tables for 4 and 3, and those can both change to 12. So I'm going to actually just write it below. I'm going to change both of them to 12 because that was the first number 12 in both of those times tables. 4 times what is 12? Well, that would be 3. So you got to do that to the top. 2 times 3 is 6. And then come to the other one. 3 times what is 12? That would be 4. Do it to the top to be fair. 1 times 4 is 4. Now just looking at the second problem, 6/12 plus 4/12. Keep the common denominator. Add across the top will give us 10/12, which is correct, but it reduces. Let's divide by 2 and get a better answer, a simplified answer of 5/6. Okay. Let's go on to subtracting with unlike denominators, and I'll still be using just proper fractions to subtract. Let's do 2/5 minus 3/10. So go through your times tables on 5 and 10. Well, 10 is in both of those times tables. So we're going to actually just leave the second one. He doesn't need to change. He already has a 10. So it's really just the first one that needs to change. 5 times what is 10? Well, that's 2. And then do it to the top to be fair. 2 times 2 is 4. Now in that blue problem, we have a common denominator. We're going to keep the 10. And 4 minus 3 is 1. That does not reduce. We're done. Let me find another one here. here's example 2. 5/9 minus 1/2. Actually, here, I'll do one vertical. And again, I think the vertical might be a little easier. It doesn't matter. Whatever feels better to you. Look at those denominators, 9 and 2. Go through your times tables. What is the first number in both the 9 and 2 times tables? Will be 18. So we're going to change both of these to denominator 18. 9 times what is 18? Well, that's 2. Times the top by 2 to be fair. 5 times 2 is 10. On the second one, 2 times what is 18? That's 9. 1 times 9, to be fair, is 9. And now subtract. Just looking at the green, common denominator is 18, so we're going to leave that. 10 minus 9 is 1. And there we go. That does not reduce. You're done. Okay, let's go on to adding and subtracting with unlike with improper. It's really the same. Okay. Let's do example 1. Let's do some adding. I'm going to do 6/5, so that's improper because the top is bigger than the bottom. Plus 4/3. That's improper as well because the top is bigger than the bottom. But it doesn't matter. We're going to do this the exact same way. We're going to get a common denominator for 5 and 3. Go through both of those times tables. The first number they have in common is 15. So we're going to change both of those denominators to 15. 5 times what is 15? 3. And let's do it to the top to be fair. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times what is 15? Well, that's 5. And then do it to the top. 4 times 5 is 20. So it's really the same method. Add across the top, we get 38. Keep the denominator 15. Now that is good if you're allowed to use, leave it in improper. And again, if you're in high school math, watching this as a review, you're probably going to leave it like that. If you're in middle school math, you want to follow your directions. If it says you can leave it improper, leave it. If it says you need to turn it back to a mixed number, let's divide. 38 divide 15. That goes in twice, which is 30. And there's your remainder, which is your numerator. So 2 is your whole number, numerator 8, and denominator stays 15. So either answer is correct. It just depends on what your teacher or your worksheet wants. Okay, that's improper with adding. Let's do it improper with subtracting. Okay, so technically example 2. All right, I'm going to do 11/6 minus 2. Yeah, that's fine. 2/12. So go through your times tables on 6 and 12. The first number they would both hit is 12. So actually the second one's fine. You don't have to change him. We just have to change the first one by multiplying by 2 and multiplying by 2. Now we're ready. Common denominator is 12. 22 minus 2 is 20. So we're looking at an answer of 20/12, which is correct, but it can simplify. Both of those numbers can be divided by 4, so go ahead and simplify, giving us 5/3. That is good if you're allowed to use leave it improper. That is the simplified improper. If you need to turn it back, that would be 5 divide 3. That goes in once. And there we go. So there's your whole number and there's your numerator. So this would be 1 and 2/3, always leaving the same denominator. Both are fine. Again, just follow your direction. Okay. Alrighty, let's go into mixed numbers. This is probably the hardest part, and let's start with adding. There is multiple ways to do this. So if you don't like my way, just go back on YouTube, search another way. But in my opinion, this is what I'm going to show you is the easiest. So when you get this, step 1 is going to be convert your mixed numbers to improper. And then step 2, get a common denominator. If they don't have one, they might already, so you may not need to do step 2. And then step 3, add. Okay, so if you know how to work with impropers, you're good to go on this. I'm going to leave those steps up here, and let's do, I'll call this example 1. 4 and 1/8 plus 3 and 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to convert to improper. Since these have a common denominator, we don't really need to, but I'm going to do it anyway just because it makes it easier when they don't have a common denominator. So remember how to convert a mix to an improper. You're going to multiply the denominator with the whole number. So 4 times 8 is 32. Hold that in your head. So you were multiplied there, and then add. So 4 times 8, 32, plus 1 is 33, and then keep the denominator. Okay. And now let's do that again. On the other one, you're going to take the denominator times the whole number. So 3 times 8, that's 24. Keep that in your head. 24 plus 3 is 27, and keep the denominator. So that was step 1. We have converted them to improper. They have a common denominator, so we don't need to do step 2. We're going to keep that common denominator of 8 and add across the top. 33 plus 27 is 60. So our answer is 60/8, which is correct, but that can simplify. Both of these can be divided by 4. Give us a simplified answer of 15/2. Now that would be your answer if you're allowed to leave it improper. But since this problem was given as mixed numbers, we probably want to put the answer as a mixed number. So let's do 15 divide 2. That goes in 7 times. There we go. So that would be 7 as our whole number, 1 is our numerator, always leave the denominator. There's your mixed number. So both of them are fine. Listen to your teacher or your worksheet on which one they want. This is correct, this is correct. Okay. And again, there is another way to do that where you don't have to do the first step of converting to improper, but I really do recommend it. It does take a minute, but I recommend it. Okay, let's do a couple more. Here's example 2. Again, I'm going to leave the steps up there. I'm going to do this one vertically just to show you it works just the same. Let's do, trying to find a good one here. Let's do 2 and 5/6 plus 1 1/3. Okay, so that is in vertical orientation. If you don't like it like that, feel free to rewrite it horizontally. And we're going to go to step 1 is to convert both of those to improper. Okay, so again, we take the denominator times the whole number, keep that in your head. So 6 times 2 is 12, keep that in your head. 12 plus 5 is 17, keep the same denominator. And then let's do the same for the bottom. 3 times 1 is 3, keep that in your head. Plus 1 is 4, same denominator. So now the green is our new problem. We have 17/6 plus 4/3. Oh, but they don't have the same denominator, so we're not ready there. So now let's go to step 2. I'm going to take that out of the box. And let's get a common denominator. So go through your times tables for 6 and 3. The first number that they would both hit is 6. So actually we can just leave 17/6, and then we just need to change this one to a denominator of 6. 3 times what is 6? That would be 2. So do the same to the top to be fair, and that's 8. Now we're at the orange, add straight down. You're going to keep the denominator of 6. Let me take off the box because it's in my way. Keep the denominator of 6, and those 17 plus 8 is 25. That's your answer if you can leave it improper. That does not reduce. But since this was given to us as a mixed number, we should probably put it back to a mixed number. So maybe we should even add step 4, convert answer to mixed number. And again, the improper is right, but since it was given to us as a mixed number, we should probably put it back. So we're going to do 25 divides 6, goes in 4 times. And there's our remainder. So that would be a whole number of 4, numerator of 1, keep the denominator. That's probably the answer they're looking for there. Again, I think it's a little easier vertically, but it does not matter. So I'm going to do one more horizontally. You can always change it if vertical to horizontal and vice versa. You do whatever is best for you. Example 3. This will be my last one of adding. Then I'll go to subtracting, and then this video will be done. All right, one more adding here. All right, let's do 5 and 2/5 plus 7/12. And now you'll notice that that second one is just a regular fraction. It's not a mixed number. And that's fine. We can do a mixed number with a regular fraction. Step 1, convert the mixed numbers into improper. So 5 times 5 is 25. Hold that in your head. Add 2. Okay, so that would be 27. Keep the denominator. And now the other one, technically this is a 0 there, but you don't need that. Just bring that down. You don't have to convert that because it wasn't a mixed number. So now we're at the pink, but those are not ready to be added because they do not have a common denominator. Go through your times tables on 5 and 12. The first number that's in both of those times tables, I think, is 60. So we're going to convert both of these to have a denominator of 60. 5 times 12 is 60, and do 27 times 12. So if you want a calculator for that part, feel free. That is 324. And then on the other side, 12 times what is 60? That's 5. So do 7 times 5, so that's 35. Now here we are on the brown. We have a common denominator of 60, and add right across the top 324 plus 35 is 359. I don't think that reduces. That's probably your improper answer. 359 over 60 is probably your improper. But again, since the question started in mixed numbers, they probably want it back to mixed numbers. So we'll come to the side and we'll do 359 divided by, 59 divided by 60. So think of it as this: 6 goes into 35 5 times. So 60 times 5, use your calculator if you want to, or some scratch paper. That's 300. And there's your remainder, which is your numerator. So the mixed number here is 5 is our whole number, 59 is our numerator, keeping the denominator of 60. So that one got a little ugly. Of course, if you're allowed to, you can use a calculator to help you with those big numbers, but it's still doable. Okay, now let's subtract mixed numbers. It's really going to be about the same. I'm going to put the steps. I would still convert everything to improper. Again, there's another way to do this where you don't have to, but I think this is the easiest way. Then you're going to get a common denominator if needed. Some of them might already have it. Then once you have a common denominator, you'll be able to subtract. And then if needed, and most of these probably you will, convert back to mixed number. Okay, so example 1. Let's do 7 and 3/8 minus 2 and 1/8. So those already have a common denominator. So technically we don't really need to convert to improper, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because I think the process is good and it will help when they don't have a common denominator. Okay, so we do 8 times 7, that's 56. Hold that in your head, plus 3, so that would be 59/8 minus 2 times 8, that's 16. Hold that, plus 1, so that's 17/8. So we're at the blue. They already have a common denominator. We're simply going to keep the 8 and subtract across the top, which would be 42. Okay, now that is a good answer, but I think we could divide, they're both even. So let's divide by 2, which would give us 21/4. I think that's the best answer if you're going to leave it improper. But since the original problem was given as a mixed number, let's convert it back to mixed. 21 divide 4, that goes in 5 times. So this would be 5 as our whole number and 1/4. There's your mixed answer. Now that one was a little on the easy side because they already had a common denominator of 8. What if they don't? So this one's going to be a little harder, and I'll show you how to do it vertically. Again, either way is fine. Doesn't really matter. Here's example 2. Okay, let's do 8 and 2/3 minus 4 and, hold on, wrong thing, sorry, minus 3 and 4/5. Okay, so step 1, convert both of those to improper. So the first one, 8 times 3, 24, plus 2 would be 26. Keep the denominator. Second one, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 is 19. Keep the denominator. All right, so we're at the green, but we still cannot subtract those because they don't have a common denominator. Go through your times tables. On 3 and 5, the first number in both times tables is 15. So we're going to get these to be fractions with a denominator of 15. 3 times 15, that would be 5. Excuse me, 3 times what is 15? That would be 5. So do 26 times 5. Of course, use your calculator if you're allowed, if you want to. 26 times 5 is 130. And then on the bottom, 5 times what is 15? That's 3. Do 19 times 3, and that's 57. And now we can subtract. We have a common denominator of 15, and you're going to do 130 minus 57, and that's 73. There is your improper answer that does not reduce. But since this was given as mixed number, let's put it back to mixed number. 73 divide 15, that goes in 4 times, which is 60. There we go. So this would be a whole number 4 and 13/15. There's your mixed answer. Okay, I'll do one more and then I'm going to call it a day here. So this is involved. You want to take your time, go slow, follow the steps. Again, there is another way to do this, but this is the easiest in my humble opinion. Okay, I'll go back to horizontal because usually I feel like that's how worksheets do it. Not that it matters. You can always change it to vertical. 7 and 3/4 minus 2 and an 8. Have we done this one already? No, okay. I don't think. Hold on. I feel like we did something similar. One second. Let me find a better one. Let's do this. 6.5 minus, no, I don't, that's fine. 3 3/10. There we go. Okay, step one, convert to improper. 6 times 2 is 12. Hold that in your head. Plus 1, so there's 13. Keep the denominator. 10 times 3 is 30. Hold that in your head. Plus, so that's 33. Keep the denominator. So we're at the orange. We cannot subtract those. They do not have a common denominator. Go through your times tables for 2 and 10. They would both hit 10. So actually the second one, we don't have to mess with. Just leave the second one and change the first one to a denominator 10. 2 times what is 10? That's 5. So now do 13 times 5 to be fair, and that's 65. Now we're at the blue. We can do this problem. Common denominator of 10, subtract across the top would be 32. That reduces because those are both even, so we can divide by 2. And that's 16/5. That is your answer if you're allowed to leave it improper. But again, since the original was in mixed number, we probably want to put it back to mixed. So let's do 16 divide 5. That goes in 3 times. And there we go. So that would be 3 1/5. That's probably your best answer, the mixed number. Okay. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please just leave me a comment, and happy mathing. Bye-bye.